Can you cure the gut disease? Lying for 16 years, but walking. This is possible. The first human achieved the will. If anyone wants to verify the facts, you can. We will only publish stories that are verifiable. This is the address of homepage and the blog. Zhang's husband is a graduate of Seoul National University's Engineering College, and his family members are upper-class people, and she was in bed for 16 years. She lost a lot of her fortune and laid down in her bed, giving up her life in the process of doing everything she had done for 16 years, including hospitals, oriental medical clinics, folk remedies, and religious activities. Her body was so deformed that she took it unconsciously and confined herself to bed. Even if there are 5 relatives of doctors, the reason why they cannot recover her from the hospital is that they cannot recover from the disease related to God. Her story tells her that God is going to build a house in her head and come and go. But it was hard because there is nothing she can do with her will. Now she is walking around freely and leading a healthy life. This is her story. I went to the hospital by a severe headache and dizziness, but they could not even find a pathology for me in this cutting-edge age of medicine. It was always the same answer at the S University General Hospital and many general hospitals famous in Korea that there is no disease. The blood vessels are clean and there is no abnormality at all. One day, a person who is well acquainted with her husband introduced a cultivating place the patient has to go in Yangpyeong, Gyeonggi Province. The person who is informed the news was Facebook because he was a retired person in his profession. But it was also true that I wondered how good it was because I met many people during that time. It was also a problem to go there, and I was really afraid to move. My husband wanted to go to his word that any illness could be healed, and I agreed to book ambulance and pack up my baggage. On August 9, 2008, I was taken in an ambulance with a second daughter and husband on a stretcher. On the 11th day, he came to me in the early morning and eradicated all the intangibles, which gave me a deadly illness and took special measures to make the stiff body revive. So let's sit down and get up. I have been stiff for 16 years, so I could barely sit on the slippery legs without holding the technique. On the 12th day, it was the day Giwan came to Seoul. When I was alone, I put my watch on my side and started to breathe. I tried to stand up alone without help from another person, and I collapsed and collapsed 3 times, and I tried again. It was dizzy and hurt, but the tears of joy flowed down to be able to sit down like this. I tried again in the afternoon and could sit down for about 4 minutes. I could see a strange face like grandmother on a hand mirror, and I lived lying so long that my face was filled with wrinkles. On 30 days, he told me to sit down and eat. I was clumsy to sit, but in the thought that I could do it, I started to eat rice sitting, and gradually my body was changed a little bit, and the sitting time gradually increased. On the 43rd day, Gigang brought a chair for me to exercise to stand up by holding on the side of the chair. After a few attempts by holding on to the side when I could not balance in trying to stand up and holding up the chair, it was the miracle of 16 years that I could stand up and exercise alone. When I stood up, I saw pine trees through the windows, and it looked like a beautiful nature, a really different world. The next day, Gikwang came in with a rehabilitation walker. I turned around the hall into the room and cried like a child. Gikwang was wiping away his tears, saying, "Cry out loud." Now I come back to my house and release the muscles with the exercise of stepping on the fixed bicycle pedal. I go to the living room while holding the walker and move around steadily. I go to the bathroom and wash my hair and face without others' help. I thank you, Gikwang, for giving me a new life and ask you to give happiness to many people. I also thank Mr. Moon in Daegu for your guidance who led me to Yangpyeong. This is a fact. By the personal experience, by the members who saw, by herself and the family members.